How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a good day so far, or whatever time it is there. We are going to cover an exercise, but we're also going to talk about how to translate and or corrupt light work exercises for so-called shadow work. This is something that I have always found to be right there in front of me, but it seems as though others, you give them an exercise how to talk to an angel, and they don't realize that you can invert the symbolism to talk to a demon. So we're actually going to talk about that. We have an example from the second half of a Garden of Pomegranates, which is called Skrying on the Tree of Life. And this is called a middle pillar exercise on the parts of the soul. Fair enough. And it works very well. This has us do a visual meditation, a meditative visualization, if you will, where we place imagery at various parts of our astral and etheric bodies that relate to parts of the tree of life, the Etz Chodesh, the holy tree. Now we are going to use them for the Etz Shedim, the demonic, the tree of demons, the Sitra Akra, as it's often called. So I guess it would be Shaddai, Etz Shaddai. Anyway, so what this has us do is place the imagery of various things on different parts. So we are going to very, very briefly run over this. It says to close your eyes, and after a few minutes of relaxation, imagine yourself growing infinitely tall. Your body expands out into space, your head extends beyond the clouds, until at length you are surrounded by the stars, and you stand on the earth, a small orb just beneath your feet. Now, what you can do is you can imagine that you can either use the outer space stellar thing in an infernal way, because a lot of people use different stars, like the Star of Algol, etc., for demonic infernal workings. So yeah, if you're fine out there doing that, go ahead. But if not, you can imagine that an abyss or a chasm is opening beneath your feet and that you are descending down into it. Moving on. This says, visualize a sphere of white light just above your head. Now, what you might want to do is imagine a dark star, a black hole. You can imagine there's whatever symbolism works for you. Do something that represents the primal source of either chaos or void. Then this says, with the sphere of white light just above your head, to vibrate the name Yechidah, which means unity, more or less. So if you want to invoke Dalmael here, you can. If you want to invoke Janus, maybe. So, as you intoned the name, visualize a large bright star in the center of your Keter or Kether sphere. Keep vibrating the word Yechidah until it is the only thought in your mind. Then imagine a shaft of light descending from your Keter to your Hokmah at the left temple of your forehead. So, essentially, we're going to go from here to here, okay? It says, form a sphere of white light there and vibrate the name Chaya or Chia. This is the next level. So, where this has you intone the name and visualize a bright flickering candle flame in the center of the Hokmah sphere, and you intone the name Chaya or Chia, what you can do is, now if you're going to do this, I'm not going to give you the whole thing. Number one, because things are personal on this path, and what works for me might not work for you. But two, if you're going to do this, you need to have the gumption, the chamutz, you need to have the will to at least be able to translate these things for yourself. And the more translating you do for yourself, the more progress you're going to make. So I already gave you the dark star. Yeah, that one was obvious. Let's see if you can figure this one out. What is not necessarily the opposite of a candle flame, but what if a candle flame is to light, what is to dark? What is to shadow? If I'll tell you what. If you want to imagine a either black flame, or if you want to imagine perhaps, let's see. I typically use a black flame. What's another idea that you can use to represent Hokmah? That's a very good visual one. So you can imagine the shadow of the candle and the candle flame, what it would look like on the wall. Take that silhouette, place it right here. Moving on. You will then vibrate whatever name. If you want to invoke the Qliphothic sphere rulers here, you can do that. But this is more about a personal thing. So if you want to actually come up with a word that represents not the opposite of the life force, but the inversion or primordial of it. Tohu might work, or bohu. So, next, you will bring a shaft of light. Now remember, if you're doing a sort of shadow version of this, you're going to want to bring shadow. Or if your shadow work is bringing light into the shadow, continue with the exercise as normal. This says, bring a shaft of light horizontally across from your Hokmah center to your Binah center at the right temple of your forehead. Form a sphere of light here, or shadow. Then vibrate the name Neshama. As you intone the name, visualize a silver chalice of pure water in the center of your Binah sphere. Intone the name Neshama several times until it fills your consciousness. Now, if you want to imagine a chalice of blood, for example, instead of water, go ahead. Or urine, or any other life essence. Now, moving on. You visualize the supernal triad of spheres around your head that you have just activated, and see each of 3 radiant orbs connected with 3 shafts of light. So you're going to have essentially a triangle that is formed right here. Now, this is mostly just to teach you about how to translate symbolism. And the fact that you don't necessarily have to use Hebrew names and Hebrew letters and things like that. Whatever force corresponds to these things for you, you can do. Now, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. See the shaft of light descending from the Neshama, and see it pass through the abyss, and the bridge known as Da'at. See the shaft of white light descending through Da'at, from the transcendental to the mortal, from that which is common to all of us to that which is singular and personal. See the shaft of light as it passes through the barrier of the abyss. Okay. Imagine the shaft of light descending to Hesed and then to Geburah at your left and right shoulders, respectively. Orbs of light are formed at both centers. Then see the shaft of light continue to your Tiferet center at your heart. Visualize a sphere of light or shadow there that pulsates with brilliance, and vibrate the name Ruach. As you intone the name, visualize an open book with gilded pages filled with informations and illustrations at the center of your Tiferet center. So now, if you want to imagine like a flesh-covered Necronomicon or something like that, if you want to imagine your personal grimoire that you have written, that you have made, go ahead. Hopefully you see what is going on at this point. Keep intoning the name of Ruach, or whatever name you want to intone, and visualize the shaft of light descending from Tiferet to Netzach and then to Hod at your left and right hips, respectively. See the shaft of light descending from Hod into the Yesod center at the genital region. Intone the name Nefesh. As you intone the name, visualize a brightly colored lizard, a chameleon, in the center of your Yesod sphere. Vibrate the name Nefesh a number of times. So if you want to imagine more like a dragon instead of a chameleon, or if you want to imagine some sort of chimera. Moving on. Visualize the shaft of light descending from Yesod into your Malkuth center at the Malkuth center at your feet and ankles. Vibrate the name Goof or Guv. That works better for me. Sort of like a Guv. That works better for me than Goof. Now, intone the name. As you intone the name, visualize a seashell in the center of your Malkuth sphere and vibrate the name Guv a number of times. See all 10 Sephiroth that comprise your soul. The orbs formed at each Sephiroth within your aura are refulgent with light. See the shafts of light that connect each of your soul as conduits of energy that are open and clear from all obstruction. The various soul levels are free to communicate information, from the supernal Neshama down to the Guv, and from the Guv to the Neshama. Now, you can keep going with this. If you want to do the light half here, and then continue underneath you, as the other tree sort of would be, or behind you, however you think about it. You can do the light side and then the dark side. But this is then saying that you're essentially going to want to follow the light back up and the visualizations back up. Now, this is a powerful exercise. For those of you who don't like visualization, you're missing things. You are, number one, if you're not visualizing, and we can talk about aphantasia all you want, okay? Leave a comment if you have aphantasia, or you think you do, or you think you might, is what I mean. If you're not visualizing, not only are you not being as receptive as you could be, as intuitive as you could be, you're also not bringing your full power online. We have a psyche, we have an intellect, which the psyche and the intellect are different. That's not the word. I meant we have a psychic field. We have an energetic field, and we have a physical field, but we also have an astral field as well. If you think that doing visualizations is too woo-woo, and you think that doing visualizations is like too like girly or whatever, like, you're missing out on power. You're missing out on opportunity. You're missing out on experience. Many, many times, practitioners will communicate purely in water. Sounds crazy until you figure out how to do it. You can pass imagery back and forth. Not like you can words, but if you are highly empathetic, for instance, one practitioner might be thinking something that puts an image in their mind. And then you might get a feeling in your fire that you can then translate into the plane of water, and then receive an image based on that. This is relatively advanced material, but some of you need to hear this, and so here I am to tell you. Anyway, this is just a kind of middle length video, I guess, but it's more just a template than anything. Everything on this channel you should take as a template. That's it for this one. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below. Please have a good rest of the day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.